Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, Moments with God. And today, of course, is Sunday, the 23rd Sunday of the year. But along with that, today is also another important day. Today is the 8th of September and the birthday of Mama Mary. So we have a combined day, but of course, because it is a Sunday, Sunday gets priority over the feast of Mother Mary. Of course, unless it is Christmas, only then that gets priority. Otherwise, Sunday always gets a priority because it is supposed to be the day of the Lord, the day when Jesus was risen. But I hope that through these videos, you are also getting a little more aware of our need for our spiritual life and deepening of our spiritual life, and are able to make a good connection with the Lord and even friendship with God. And if you like the video, you can share it with others. Thank you very much. Today, as you see, I stand here. There is a kind of artificial spring from this man in the garden, and in the background there is a beautiful park, you can say, or nature, because today, in the first reading, the from the book of Isaiah, it is said, God says to people, "Do not be afraid. I will come to you and make a recompense when the blind will be able to see, the deaf will be able to hear, the dumb will be able to speak, the lame will be walking." And then not only about human beings' faculties functioning, but also there would be spring in the desert. Of course, this is not desert, but there is an artificial spring here, as you can see, and the desert will bloom like here. I suppose, I don't know if this was once upon a time a desert, but it is a beautiful nature. So God is taking both human beings and nature together, which is what Pope Francis is also trying to remind us. And this is the season of creation. So we have several things together: the birthday of Mother Mary, 23rd Sunday of the year, and also the season of creation. But I would like to come back to the first reading where God says, "Do not be afraid, and all things will work well." And that is being proved or confirmed by people bringing one deaf man to Jesus. And of course, Jesus takes him aside and puts his finger in his ears and puts spittle and does those rituals. And looking up to heaven, he says, "Epharta," and this man is able then to hear and to speak. But I want to ask this question, or basically what question that comes to my mind is in that first reading, that about the blindness, the deafness, the dumbness, and the uh, people walking lame. Is this actually meant literally, and being physically blind, physically deaf, physically dumb? Or does it mean more than that? In my opinion, what God wants to say is that we can sometimes be physically with eyes quite well, our ears hearing, our speeches good, but we may not be in contact with God. Our inner eyes may be blind, our inner ear may be deaf, our inner tongue may be dumb, and our movements may not be towards God and what God's creation to protect it. And also, God's creation includes not just trees and jungles and water and river, but it also includes people who are in need. I'm just reminded of a small story. 10 days ago, we celebrated the feast of Saint Augustine, a great intellectual. And he was an expert speaker, and that's why he wanted to open an institute of rhetoric to train people to speak intelligently, logically, and powerfully. So he was a good speaker, and he could hear everything. He read a lot. But if we actually examine his life of that time, it was really far from God. He had not yet discovered God. And finally, only after hearing the sermon of Saint Ambrose, that time the Bishop of Milan, he converted to Christianity. And once he got converted, he suddenly, his eyes, which were already open, began to see the wonders of God. His ears began to hear the sounds of God. His tongue started speaking about the glory and magnificence of God and God's love. And his feet began to walk towards the church because he accepted the Lord's invitation. So, what it really means is that when we say about the blind and the deaf and the dumb, it is not really always about the physical blindness. It can be also our inner blindness. And that's why I keep talking about spiritual awakening, spiritual renewal, going better and closer to God. And what Jesus is actually proving is that what is mentioned in the Old Testament comes true through his life and through his action. He, of course, cures all kinds of people. Today, of course, there is a mention only of the deaf man being healed, but throughout his ministry, he was doing all that. He made lame people walk, he made blind people see, he made dumb people talk. He did all those kinds of things. And what happens today is that when this man gets cured, he started speaking the praises of God, thanking God. But of course, Jesus tells him not to tell anybody, but he goes on. And that is what I think we are supposed to do with our tongue and with our thing. One more thing. Who actually bring this man to Jesus, this deaf man? In the gospel, it is meant people bring this deaf man to Jesus. But who are these people? Are they his relatives? Are they his friends? Are they his village people? Who are they? It is not mentioned, but I believe it is simply people who were able to see the need of this deaf man, that he needed healing. So, the mission that Jesus wants to give us is this. Do you observe with your open eyes the needs of people? Do you hear with your ear what the poor are going through, or what God is telling you about other people, about creation? And what is your tongue being used to? Is it used to criticize others, or is it to bring people closer to God, to make them aware of God's love, God's mercy, and God's goodness? I suppose that you, in your spiritual life, will make use of your eyes, your ears, your tongue, your feet to do good. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.